We've had about 5 weeks now, so we're starting to get a better idea of who the elite teams in the NFL are and who the pretenders were coming into the season. So we have enough data. We have the documents in with the 5 best teams that I'll be going over, and then you'll be going over the 5 worst teams. So you have the documents. What say you? Who are the 5 worst teams in the NFL this year? I need to know. Everyone else needs to know too.
So should I go from 5 to 1 or 1 to 5? Because 5 to 1. Okay. So we're going to start at number 5, right? And this team, they don't like, their record should not be what it is, because this is a team last year that was a playoff team. They have a solid quarterback. They have one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And the reason why they're 1-4 is because they can't keep the ball in their hands. They have 8 fumbles this year, 4 interceptions, 12 turnovers to this point. More turnovers than the Panthers, than the Bears, than all these other teams that could be mentioned later on this list. But they just can't seem to keep the ball in their hands. That's the Minnesota Vikings. What are you doing? I mean, good God. Plus minus differential, turnover battle, -9. Worst in the NFL. Worse than the Patriots, worse than the Panthers, worse than all these other teams that could be mentioned later on this list. You have no business being 1-4 at this point. I understand last year you had a bunch of good breaks go your way. You were 13-4 with a minus point differential. But to be on the complete opposite end of it this year and play this poorly, with some games having as many as 5 turnovers, get a hold of yourself, guys. This is pathetic. So that's my number 5 team. The number 4 team, we almost called it. You and I were like kind of vague on this team. We didn't really believe in their wide receivers. We didn't believe in their quarterback. He played so bad last year. He called himself out of the Hall of Fame, basically. But their defense was really good. So we're like, okay, well, if they can bring their defense back and they can make this quarterback, comparable, then sure, they can be in the mix for the playoffs. But instead, they bring in Sean Payton. Sean Payton says, we're going to do everything completely opposite. Our offense is going to work, and our defense is going to be a complete train wreck. So what do? They go out, they face the Dolphins. The Dolphins put 70 points on you. And then they go out this last week, embarrass themselves again, nearly lose to the lowly Bears. The Broncos are at number 4. What is going on in Denver? Let's ride. No, how about you guys ride off the edge of a cliff at this point? This team is such an embarrassment on so many levels. Oh, Russell Wilson's playing well. That's awesome. Unfortunately, they're on pace to have the worst defense in NFL history, giving up 37 points a game. Vance Joseph, what are you doing? Not only did you lose your position in Denver as a head coach, now you're going to lose your ability to be a defensive coordinator anywhere. Not even in college they want this. So they're at number 4. And then at number 3, surprisingly, they're at number 3, despite the fact that we dragged them through the mud every single week. But these other teams that are ahead of them deserve to be dragged even more. Number 3, I have the lowly New York Giants. Believe it or not, they're number 3. And because for me and for you and for probably certain sections of the NFL population, we expected this. They don't have any weapons. Their defense is not that great. The only thing that's really the bright spot on that team is Brian Daboll and Saquon Barkley's quads. Because at this point, you have Darren Waller. He's gotten paid. He doesn't give a shit. And then you have Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones, I am not the biggest supporter of Daniel Jones. You guys have watched the show. You guys understand this. But at the same time, a guy who's going to get sacked 19 times in 2 games, what do you think's going to happen? They're going to get hurt. And what happened, unfortunately, last week? He got hurt. Wish him the best luck in his recovery. But now they have Tyrod Terrible out there. Yeah, that's going to win you games. They're at 1-4. I don't suspect they win another game this year. They're pathetic. They're at number 3. But surprisingly, after them, a team that is just in the same position, if not worse, is the lowly New England Patriots. Now, we are residing in New England, so Patriots fans, they are still in delusion. I don't know if they put crack in those Dunkin' Donuts coffees, but something is in the air in New England, and it is not very ripe, to say the least. They have scored 55 points, which is the lowest in the NFL. They've been outscored by the Philadelphia's kicker, Jake Elliott. That's how bad that offense has been. They have scored 3 points over the past 2 weeks, 18 over the past 3 weeks, which was just about as much as they scored against the Dolphins, which is currently the most they've scored all season. Mac Jones has played terrible. Ramondre Stevenson forgot how to run. And then with the loss of Christian Gonzalez and Matt Judon, they don't have a defense anymore. So at this point, they're tanking for Caleb Williams. They're at number 2, the lowly Patriots.
What Julian Edelman say? Julian Edelman was on the herd, and he was talking about the Patriots.
Yeah, and he said it's time that maybe they get some different people to discuss who to put in offense, because Demario Douglas, Devontae Parker, Kendrick Bourne, who is scaring anybody on the opposing defense with those guys? Patriots at number 2. And then I have to put them at number 1 because they have yet to win a game, and they cannot score more than 12 points a game, and that is the Carolina Panthers. You move up to number 1 to get Bryce Young. You give up your next first-round pick in the process to the Chicago Bears. You somehow got finessed by the Bears. Talk about an L. Talk about a team that deserves to be at number 1 for worst team in the NFL. The lowly Carolina Panthers. Everyone on this team has a lowly title in front of it. Consider it their gamer tag, I guess. But you trade for Bryce Young, and you trade away his number 1 wide receiver. That makes sense, right? That would be like if you're trying to add talent around for the Minnesota Vikings. You're like, here you go, have Justin Jefferson. Oh, what's that? Oh, the Dolphins. Oh, let's get a quarterback. Let's trade Tyreek Hill. Genius idea. The difference is that in Carolina, there wasn't anybody around DJ Moore. And now with him gone, they're like, I don't know who can replace DJ Moore. Adam Thielen, the 33-year-old undrafted wide receiver from 10 years ago. No disrespect to Adam Thielen. He's an all-time, he's a great wide receiver, touchdown machine, but he should not be your number 1. And then you give up your first-round pick for next year. So not only do you suck, but you're going to continue to suck because the Chicago Bears finessed you. They got your number 1 wide receiver. They got to move back and get the tackle that they wanted. And then they have your pick for next year. So if Justin Fields sucks, they can go out and get Caleb Williams. Not only did you get finessed by the Bears, which is already a loss within yourself, somehow you're going to finish the season 0-18 because the Bears got a win on you. That is ultimate level loss, and that is why they are the worst team in the NFL.